To be a happy, fulfilled, relaxed and thriving artist, there are a few precious things I like to do on a daily or a weekly basis to balance my mood, my energy, my optimism, my peace of mind, and to fully enjoy this life I have chosen as an artist. Being a technology-phobic introvert, my needs are very different than those of an extrovert social butterfly. I'm going to share what I do when I'm tired, anxious, struggle to focus, when I'm overwhelmed, feel empty, or what I do in general to take care of my artist well-being. A lot of artists, poets, writers have talked about sleep and the importance of sleep in their creation and in their art. The French poet Gérard de Nerval in the 19th century wrote, "I have never felt that sleep was rest. After a few minutes of dizziness, a whole new life starts." And I fully agree with Gérard. Sleep is another life. I need good sleep to create good work and having good ideas coming to me. When I go to bed a bit sad or defeated, I never fail to make the most joyful and uplifting dreams and always wake up comforted, seeing life with fresh eyes. And this happens all the time. Most of my dreams are just pretty fun and pretty wonderful. And throughout the years, I have changed my approach to sleep and very rarely work till the early hours in the morning as I used to do a lot in the past because it's just not sustainable. In her beautiful book about sleep, the author Jacqueline Kellen writes, "When I sleep, I make peace with the world, with myself. I adjust to the rhythm of clouds, trees, waves. I digest the day, I sweep, I bail out, I clarify these stacks of words, violence, effort. Sleep frees us from our daily jail and all our agitation, our big ideas, our ambitions fade away to bring us back to what's essential." And to me, sleep is a key ingredient to my inspiration and my artist's well-being. By the way, I don't own an alarm clock. I definitely don't use my phone to wake me up. If I need to catch a train early or if I have an appointment early, I just repeat to myself when I should wake up, and I usually wake up at the right time or a little earlier. I find alarm clocks really too stressful and I don't want to start my day like that. My sketchbooks and notebooks are vital to my artistic well-being. They serve different purposes. When I'm stuck, overwhelmed, or feel too much pressure on the main work or project I'm working on, and I need a little change, I like to grab a pencil and open a sketchbook or a notebook with a bright, nice blank page in front of me and unload my imagination joyfully, filling the blank page with all sorts of drawings and sketches, and it feels so good. It removes instantly all pressure of result and finding the right idea, putting all sorts of bad ideas on the page without any pressure of results. And it feels extremely satisfying. It's not things I will show anywhere to anyone. Most of these things will not become anything, but once in a while there is the seed of a new beautiful paper adventure. reading a lot seated on my chair. Exercise is necessary, especially when I get stuck with ideas. I like actually two sorts of walks in nature. One to let the imagination and thoughts rest and be on pause, and another one to specifically focus on an idea. And walking and movements helps a lot. When I'm distracted, when I struggle to focus, and I'm too chaotic and disorganized, I know it's a priority to make time for studying and slowing down. I started to go back to some sort of personal studies of my own 2 years ago as my brain was craving for that. And it engages different parts of my mind than the one which I usually use for creation and artwork. So I usually use books I have about fairy tales, old fairy tales, history or art, and I collect and gather excerpts and I organize them in different books around themes which I'm interested in and I may use for upcoming videos, possible book projects, or simply for me, for my own personal interest to nourish my imagination and to increase and widen my knowledge. I also like to write excerpts on the books I'm reading, fiction books, novels, also for the same reasons. For example, I love home and houses description and I hunt for them and I collect those and I like to gather them in my reading books. I mentioned in a previous video that I especially love houses and old houses, decayed houses description in books and novels and I collect them. And here I found a beautiful description of a decayed house in a novel by Charles Dickens, which I'm absolutely enjoying right now, called Dombey and Son, which is not one of his most famous novels, but it's a great novel, and this description of this haunted house where a young, beautiful girl lived was really too good not to be saved, so I copied it. I always do these studies and focus reading with my pen holder and ink, and I have no choice but slowing down and focus on what I'm doing, not to stay in the page. And this puts me in focus mode for good. The sound of the nib on paper also helps get relaxed and focused. And of course, these studies are only done with these tools, with my paper books, my ink, and pen holder, and the books coming from my bookshelves. I would never use digital tools for that, it would defeat the purpose. So for example, here are some of the books I'm studying right now. This one, I've just reread it a bit. It's a classic I have in my bookshelf. I had it in my studio for a few decades. It's by Auguste Rodin, a few of his writings, and there are a lot of very interesting things I'm probably going to reuse in some videos because they are very interesting and I think precious to know as an artist. They are very smart things. So I was just rereading some passages because there were important things for me to reread. This one, I've bought it a few months ago, last month, at the old bookshop, and it's a book about La Comtesse de Ségur, her stories, but yes, re-studying a bit different angle from her stories, and I'm probably going to do a video also about this because I love La Comtesse de Ségur. I have read some of her novels I didn't read yet, and I really like her. I didn't read this one yet, but I know I'm going to study it. It's one of my upcoming book to study, so I'm very interested to see what I will get from this one. This one, I have it on these two ones, I have them on my desk all the time and I go back to them all the time because there are, for this one, a lot of studies about Madame d'Aulnoy's fairy tales and I always need to go back to it for tons of things I'm trying to reorganize, for projects, for little notes I'm going to do on my White Cat book and a lot of other things. And this one is for Madame d'Aulnoy and other fairy tales, which I also have in old version. And here I usually quote things, I organize them. I'm going to show you that for just the same, for interest, for studies, for projects to come, for videos possibly, for books, for everything really, just to make my life more interesting. Recently I have, for example, in this nice notebook, I have other things on the other side, but I'm not going to show you everything. But here I have, well, some quotes, some specific topic related to the little project I'm doing for my newsletter, little gift I'm going to offer at the end of the month, and I needed to organize things and to find some inspiration. So I had some specific excerpts of some of her fairy tales I wanted to put aside to use them for this little printable gift you are going to receive if you are subscribed to my newsletter. And if you are not, you can do it clicking on the link under this video to receive it once a month. This one is another one. I usually use the two sides for different things. So this one is, I think this one is really only for White Cat Studies. Yes, it's all, a lot of excerpts coming from this book, which I organize in themes which I may use, or I don't know, I'm interested in. For example, what sort of theme do we have? The magical fabric, aristocratic magic fabric, and I always put a little something so that I can go back to them and recognize the themes very quickly and see if I would use them for something or another. So it's not for an artistic work, it's more for study on my White Cat book and the upcoming book I plan to do. I want to also have some historical background a little at the end and at the beginning, just to give some reference and explain words and vocabulary and things. And I also want to use that for upcoming videos too, because as you maybe noticed, I'm passionate about that. So there is never enough, and there is always more to study and to learn and to understand. And this is more excerpts of the Cabinet des Fées, which I go through little by little. And the last Cabinet des Fées, I mentioned this one I already showed you this one in past videos. It's a huge book because there are many volumes in it. And I'm right there. I'm quite far actually. Am I already there? Yeah. I'm over here, so I made some progress, but still it's not finished. And I finished all Madame Le Prince de Beaumont, so the second author of The Beauty and the Beast, and I collect excerpts which I find interesting, like the Rainbow Prince was a really good one. So when I read something special, unusual, a super beautiful description, I want to capture it, to keep it. I put this here now. I improved my system, because before I was writing everything on my sketchbook, which was also turned in a notebook, and it was messy. Everything was all together. So now I've stopped that because it's not practical. I have everything there, and some of the sketchbook paper are not super friendly for my ink. This one was, but other ones are not so much. So I've changed a bit. I improved my my way to collect things. Once you write down things you enjoy the most in the book or in the story or in the novel, you remember it way more. And this one is my normal classic, the one I have for all my readings. So I have started it in 2023, in August, so not a long time ago. This one, it's not exactly 1 year of quotes, so there's not so many, but those are only those who are not fairy tales. So all my fiction and non-fiction books I've read, which are not fairy tales, and things I enjoyed. My little, very modest studies, it's just for fun and for my own pleasure and for learning, and also for some possible projects. And my big journal, I mainly use it for my work, to organize things. Well, the work a bit for my workshop, but also for my newsletters or website or things like that. And I also use it to this time it's more for, we could say, personal development books, not really that, but here, for example, there was a book about habits, which I really liked, which is called Atomic Habits. I just started to put things down on this book because it's more like a practical tool book, this one, this big, large journal I bought at the old bookshop a few years ago. Yes, I put things down that I want to keep preciously and go back to with a different mindset than the one, the more artistic or literature, research, quotes and studies here. This one is more practical, like to change and to improve my habits in general. So Now let me know if you also have some practice habits and things you like to do when you are overwhelmed, when you are a little unmotivated, when you are distracted all over the place, lacking focus, or when you are stressed. If you have specific things you like to do which are working for you and you would like to share them, please do it in the comments. I would be very interested to see what your secrets are. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the nice videos coming, and if this video inspired you and if you enjoyed it, please give a thumbs up. It's always helpful and very precious. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you very soon.